Today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite vampires from Bloodlines on Reading Between the Lines.
But here I am again, being bled by my friends, having every political action cost me free. I look like I'm having a good time, but in Methuselah can't tell. Being ousted by your grandpa really makes you feel like hell.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Reading Between the Lines. I am your host, the Water Dog, and I'm going to be doing just that, brother. We're going to be looking at Bloodlines and my 10 favorites. But before I do that, please do me the kind favor of hitting that subscribe button. It means a whole lot to me. I appreciate it, brother. Let's get to it, man. This is, of all the sets that have been released, this one was my favorite up to this point. I would have to say this one was my very favorite. And I just found it intriguing because, number one, it was difficult to add these vampires, because really these vampires are like subsets of the major clans and stuff like that. And so really what the set was designed to do was it was designed for them to be additions. But me, of course, being the silly person I am, I like playing them all by themselves, which was really kind of hard because they really weren't great crypts, and so this is the era before Anarch Convert. And so, you can get crypt screwed pretty easily in this game with these crypts, especially if you're playing those scarce vampires and stuff. But I loved it. It was a 196 card set. All brand new cards, no reprints here, just a bunch of fun stuff, and just, added to the game. I just thought that this set really added to the game. And then it gets to me to one of my favorite decks, which we'll talk about here today. So let's get started, man. Let's look at it. The top 10 favorite vampires. And we're going to start with the Chosid, Macronius, at the 10 slot. And his special is that he gets, the cards that require, like Sethra, the number one discipline for those vampires, cost him one less. And I never played a lot of Chosid decks. I was, when we're talking about bleed decks, the bleed deck that I was mainly playing at the time was Giovanni. That was the bleed deck that I was playing more than anything else. I mean, I did play some, Malkavian stuff, but really my favorite was the Giovanni bleed deck. And I know there was a lot of Chosid, bleed decks that come out, and then later on, when you get some newer, there's even more. But for me, I did like Macronius, and I liked him a whole lot more when you come out, what is it, like a decade later? When did Fairy Wands come out? But when Fairy Wands comes out, where, you can just stop things on a dime with that ability, and for him, it made him really, really powerful. And so he's at the number 10 slot for me. And so there you go. The number 9, I did play some Blood Brother decks. Okay, and Elise is probably the one that I enjoyed the most, or at least liked the most, because they're so interchangeable. But I really wanted to kind of represent Blood Brothers here, and so I would have to say the Elise was my favorite. You got the superior, superior sanguine, but you got the Protean. Okay, and you got the Fortitude, so right into all the things that I like, some good combat stuff. Blood Brothers is fun. They're tricky, but they're fun. But one of the things about it, man, is, you got to stay on top of all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that you've got to stay on top of when you play this particular clan. All right, at least makes the number 9 slot. Now we going into some good stuff. Haer. Oh, man. This is a good little fun set for me, because you're talking about a gangrel offshoot, okay, with the Airmains, and superior animalism, Spiritus, which I think is a really good discipline. Man, they have some good cards, for that clan and stuff. So, of all of them, I thought Haer was a strong one. Gets an optional maneuver each combat. She can't use weapons, but she does have the +1 strength. Man, that's really good. +1 strength, not bad. And so, number 8 slot, the Baron. The Baron, the appeal to me, I hate to tell you this, but the appeal to me was just the art. The first thing about it was, man, I gotta play this Baron. It just looks too cool. we got this ugly zombie-looking thing, in a tuxedo called the Baron. I gotta play that, man. And so I played it just for the sake of that. I was not very much of a Sabbat fan, but man, I was a fan of the Baron. And one vampire. I mean, look, if you've got a high cap vampire that can do things, that's got fortitude, where you can freak drive and take multiple actions at the time, he fell into one vampire scenarios for me. So then, I was just, I'd stick like, 7, 8 barons in a crypt, and just maybe a few ancillary vampires that I could stick in there, but really just kind of playing around him, making sure I get him out, and just have fun with that and stuff. So there you go. And that's why he hits the spot right there. But I hate to, that was the appeal. Was the art? The art was the appeal to me. There you go. Number 6, Captain H. By far and away to me the best Molly. And once again, you're talking about one vampire centric. And the special's really, really good because you get the master phase. During your master phase, you may pay a pull to gain a master phase action if Captain H is ready. +1 bleed. Really, really, really good. And one thing about it too, 6 superior disciplines. Let me say that again. 6 superior disciplines. Really, really good. And really good. So he was great. Great vampire, fun to play. Love it. Number 5, Cencius. Another great card text for this true Bruja. Cencius has 2 votes, and you may pay, this is the key, you may pay a pull when you play a master out of turn, okay? To gain an extra master phase action in your next master phase. Cencius cannot use weapons that require celerity. So, he is your wash vampire. That's what you play, wash. Out of turn master. You get another master phase, so you can play washes and then still get it. Norm Brown turned me on to that, and I love it. It's just it's fun to play. I mean, he's very, very fun to play because of that ability. That ability to do the out of turn master. So you can do that and have a lot of fun with him. So he makes that great. Number 4, Sargon. Sargon, you would think would be in a Bali deck of mine, but he really wasn't. He really fell into a Followers of Set deck for me because I was playing him with Enticement. And, because you can get the edge, you can take the action to get the edge. He had the Obfuscate, he had the Presence, very much like the Followers of Set. And so therefore you could get those actions, from him to get the edge and then get an Enticement. So if you couldn't get a bleed through to get the edge, you can take a Sargon action and get the edge and then still be able to do an Enticement. So that was really good. He was great for those Enticement decks. Number 3, Ferox, the Rock Lord. And really the appeal to me was the fact that he wasn't a slave. You did the Gargoyles, he wasn't a slave. And Ferox can enter combat with a Nosferatu controlled by another Methuselah as a D action. Younger vampires must burn 1 blood to attempt to block Ferox. Ferox cannot commit the Diablo. And he had flight. So you've got 3 great superior disciplines. You've also got little animalism, and so you can unlock with guard dogs. So if that's one of the great things about listen. If you got inferior animalism, don't forget that gives you guard dogs. That gives you the ability to unlock against bleeds, and so always sticking a few extra. Of those cards in there, and Ferox was great. So not only you go and enter combat, okay, but you can then also unlock against the bleed and attempt to block. Or if you have the ability later on down the line with some other disciplines, you put a discipline card, you can then bounce it. But I liked him. Don't forget the capacity is very important too. He's a 7 cap. So there you go. At the number 2 spot, Kamana Agazi. This is a multi-purpose vampire. I mean, look at the disciplines here real quick. We got Auspex, we got Dominate, we got Necromancy, and we got Proteum, okay? But what I liked about her was she was really, really good for my Giovanni decks because of her ability. She can put a research counter on herself as a +1 stealth action that costs 1 blood, while she is ready, your hand size is plus X, where X is the number of research counters on her. So, what's great is you can take that action, you can get the research counter, on her, and just get your hand sizes up. She also then has the Dominate and the Necromancy, which falls hand in hand with the Giovanni. And so for me, it was just a way to garner hand strength, because one of the things about combat, and if you're going to play a lot of combat, is getting hand size is very, very important, because you want to, you just don't want to get hand stuck. The last thing you want to do is get hand stuck, and so being able to have an increase in hand size is important for a combat deck. It's one of the reasons why, I love Andre the Manipulator, in the Gangrel decks right now. I mean, just go make you go Anarch, get that +2 hand size. I mean, there's a big difference between being able to hold 9 cards and 7 cards in your hand. And with her, I've gotten her up to, 5, +5, on a regular basis. And so she was really, really good. Like I said, played really, really good in my Giovanni decks. But my number one is probably going to surprise you all. I'm ready to get everybody to go like, what the heck? And that's simply because of the deck that I was playing. And so, Angela Preston, I loved my daughter's deck. My daughter's deck was solid. It was good. It was a really, really good deck. It gets better when we get some of the other sets that come out. But I like the idea of Choir. I like the idea of doing that. Now, I know that most of the successful daughter's decks are going to be vote decks. But man, I played them as Choir decks. And, when you look at the fact that, that's, superior Malapany, and then you've got the Fortitude, man, I was just taking actions. And then I would figure out a ways, of course, to put the blood back on to the vampires and stuff like that. But I love my daughter's deck. And, and at the time, with this particular set, she was the best one. And so I always played with about 3 copies of her in every crypt that I built with my daughters at the particular time. But that was a good day. Maybe one of these days I need to put one on, put it out online. I haven't taken it to a tournament to play over the last couple of years, because I've always played her. I played her in some of the tournaments, back in the day, back in the early 2000s and stuff like that. And stuff. A lot of that stuff wasn't even recorded, I don't even think. But I do love playing me some daughters, man, back in the day, and just liking the Choir mechanic. I don't know what it was, but I like the Choir mechanic. I like the idea that you were able to. That's one of the reasons why I liked Enticement. I like the idea of being able to do damage that's not a bleed in the vote. How are we going to be able to have a win condition that doesn't rely on bleed and vote? And Choir, was one of those, actions that you can take to do that. So that's why I appreciated the daughters. Well, brother, that's my list, man. Put down your top 10 list, man, because I know everybody's got a top 10 list for Bloodlines. I mean, everybody's got to have some favorite vampires from Bloodlines. Tell me who's yours are. Put them in the comments section, man. I appreciate it very much for you watching. It's been Reading Between the Lines. I'm the Water Dog. Y'all take care. Whoa, you watched the whole video? Hey, thanks for watching, man. I appreciate it. If you like what you've been seeing, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Y'all take care.